Hey guys, and welcome to this week's clicky knees. Ankles. This week's vlog. So this week we're going to be talking about drills and when you should be including drills in your training. So,
yes.
Rob, when would you say most people include drills in their training?
Never.
If they were to include drills in their training.
But they don't. But if they were to, they would normally do them after a warm-up.
Yeah. And so doing drills after a warm-up before you get into the main bulk of a session, it is a good habit to get into because it kind of sets your body into working at correct form, correct technique, ready for the main session.
Yeah. And you're not fatigued.
Yeah, you're not fatigued. The body's kind of fresh and ready to go. But one thing that people don't necessarily think about, and certainly when we've had conversations with our athletes, as you progress through a session, your body starts to get tired. So all that form and good technique that you've practiced in the drills, you start to lose towards the end of a workout. So it's quite good practice to get into to actually start to include, if you're going for a run, for example, it might just be you say to yourself, right, for the last 200 metres, I'm going to include some drills working on X, Y and Z, because actually it's when your body is fatigued, you need to start reinforcing good technique for swimming, running, cycling, whatever.
You were stopping yourself mid-sentence there and then
I was
jumping onto
thinking
the
about
neck.
it.
You're excited, aren't you?
I'm excited
Yeah.
about this subject.
But the idea is most people drill at the start because they feel like I'm going to do technical stuff. A is part of a warm-up.
Yeah.
So it's an extension. It's like you've done your dynamic stuff. What do I do now? I'll do some drills. And we as coaches, we fit into that as well.
Yeah.
Quite often our sessions will be warming up, then we'll do some drills, and then we'll go into like the main part of the session. Whereas actually, drills don't need to be done at the start. They can actually be really beneficial to be done at the end as well. So there's plus points for doing them in the traditional way, because your body is responsive to them, you learn them correctly. But as Loren rightly said, the problem with that is that when you then get tired in a main session, that's sometimes the point, particularly if you're racing, that's when you need, the point is you need to make your body get stronger at being technical. We did a run session today on
Foot
contact. So very closely linked to cadence and force production. Yeah. But again, people were sinking into their hips as they got tired towards the end of a session. And that, like Laura says, is exactly the time when you're probably going to need to be practiced at correcting your technique and
but
doing
we see it in swimmers all the time as well, towards the end, especially if, you're doing speed work or it's an endurance set, your body does get tired, and all of a sudden, if someone crosses over their arms and they've corrected that a little bit by doing drills at the beginning, if you look at their swimming towards the end of their main session, you can guarantee 99% of people will have crept back into, right, well, I'm going to start crossing my arms over.
You go back to your default, don't you?
Yeah, you go back to what your body is used to. So there's definitely a lot of merit for drilling at the end of the work. I mean, in an ideal scenario, if you've got time to do it, I'd include drills at the beginning. So after you've done the warm-up, do a couple of drills to kind of get your body thinking about the right technique, and then when you're doing the main session of whatever activity you're doing, your body is kind of in the habit of working to correct technique, but also include some drills at the end as well. So when you start to flag, when you start to fatigue, all of a sudden you're kind of training your body into, okay, well, I'm tired, but this is how I should be working out. So
yeah, so what is the benefit of doing that? So, in a nutshell, without waffling, what's the benefit of doing it? Like, why should you drill at the start and drill at the end?
So drill at the start to get your body prepared and the muscles kind of remembering how they should be working, and then drill at the end, because when your body is fatigued, you start to slip back into old habits. So by working your body when it's tired, you reinforce good technique.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah.
And bringing that into triathlon, I think you see some terrible form coming off the bike,
Yeah.
going into the run. And I was talking to a client that I was coaching this morning that actually we need to improve technique, because as we know, as some of you are yet to find out, but as a lot of you know, your legs are tired coming off the bike.
Yeah.
You start running, the first mile normally, legs do not feel like your own. So actually, if you practice technical drills when you're already fatigued, you're gonna settle in. You know, look at the pros, look at any elite race. How is it they hop off the bike and they're literally straight settled into their strides? Whereas you look at an amateur race, oh, my legs, oh, you know, and it takes time. You know, we've all been there.
We've been there, yeah. We all
You know,
know it.
we've been there. If you've just not worked enough on your biking and running, that will have an effect. However, if you haven't also been thinking about strength work and technical drills, particularly when you're fatigued, then you might be missing something else. So.
Yeah.
So
yeah, a bit of a shorter one today, but I think it's an important one.
Well,
I think it's one that gets overlooked because people don't really think of drilling at the end.
And the really interesting thing that Loren and I spoke about literally just before we shot this is when we think about the sessions that we've been putting out, if you look at the balance between sessions that are drilling at the start and sessions that drill at the end, what would you say, 90%?
90%.
Probably 90% of it is us just getting drilled at the start.
Where you drill at the end.
So actually, it's prompted us to start thinking, actually, we need to break that habit as well.
Yeah.
Because, yes, it's going to be harder to drill correctly when you're fatigued, but there's more benefits to be had, we think, from drilling at the end sometimes as well.
Definitely.
So you can kind of expect, as a bolt on to this, that we're going to start changing
will change up a little bit
the way that we're doing stuff. So yeah, it's been a really interesting thing, more for us as coaches as well.
Yeah.
You know, we've learned some stuff today. So yeah, it's been really useful. Hope that's been useful for you as well. As always, we welcome comments and, you know, likes and shares and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, and it doesn't just apply to running, it applies to swimming. Obviously there's not a huge amount of bike work, you know, drills that you can do per se, you know, the single leg drills, you know, the higher cadence drills, things like that. You know, our sessions chuck them in all over the place anyway. But specifics for swimming definitely, and running as well. Running is really, really useful. So there you go, done. That's all I've got to say about that. Yeah, perfect. So please get involved, share it around, comment and let us know what you think.
Right, thanks guys.
That was well awkward. Bye.